Hmm. What am I gonna watch today? Huh. Worst steam locomotives. I have an idea. Hello, Team Zug, and welcome back to another video. Now, today we're going to do a video that's something I don't normally talk about. And you want to know what that is? Steam engines in Great Britain. Yeah. Okay, guys, if you haven't known, I live in the UK. And I have been on heritage railways twice. Basically, in my whole life, I've been into two different heritage railways. So, since I live in the UK, I've been doing some research on steam locomotives. I knew which steam locomotives are my favourites, and steam locomotives that I really hate. So we're going to take a look at them. I'm going to present to my top 8 worst steam locomotives from Great Britain. So here's how this is going to work. I'm not going to include any steam engines from different countries like America, Canada, or China. Why? Well, as I said before, if you also read the title, this is my top 8 least favorite steam locomotives. So, there. Now then, let's get this party started. Number 8. Okay guys, I don't know what type this engine is, but he looks so ugly, I put him on the list. So, here he is. Number 8. Yee! Someone phone the doctor! This looks ugly! Ugh. I don't know what type engine this is, and frankly, I don't even want to know what type of engine this is. I mean, just look at it! It's just ugly! Since this engine is so ugly, it deserves the number 8 spot on this list. Mainly because I don't know about it. Number 7. Fowler's Ghost. Okay, this is going to be a shock to everyone. If you watch this YouTube video, the British Railways Stories, episode 17, Fowler's Ghost, Halloween Special, made by Simon A. C. Martin. By the way, this video is fantastic. You should watch it. So, subscribe to this channel. But anyways, let's get to what I want to talk about this engine. So, for his video, he told us the history of this Fowler's Ghost engine. In my opinion, I love the backstory of this engine. It felt tragic, and honestly, it felt like something from real life. So basically, the story that he decided to make up is, this story is actually not what happened to the real engine. So his story, he was a failure, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. That still happened in real life. However, Sir John Fowler decided to close the project and put the engine in a tunnel so that no one could ever find it. Yeah, basically just throw him in there. And basically the engine plotted his revenge. 'Cause why not? And then the way he killed Fowler's ghost off is quite speechless when you think about it. So basically, the tunnel collapsed and the engine was buried on the inside and got destroyed. If you thought that this is what really happened to Fowler's ghost, then I'm sorry to say that you got tricked. To be fair, I can't really blame you, because I thought the same thing until I watched the second video. strangest locomotives, Fal's ghost. So I can't pronounce strangest right. Trains, strange by trains. Basically, he told us the real story in Fal's ghost. So in real life, Fal's ghost was a failure, just like I said before. But instead, they will actually have plans to sell the engine for scrap. Basically, the idea was also this. There's something interesting what Fal's ghost had, but none other engines don't. When it goes down the tunnel, since it works, spend most of life on the tunnel, then it basically could try and make steam that doesn't affect anybody, but that backfired. By the way, if I'm honest, these engines look ugly to me. Well, I guess they could make up for it, I guess. After all, it was the team's first try. We can't get any, then I know we're not getting a full Pacific quality, but come on. You could at least make a little bit better attempt on it. Oh well. Oh yeah, bear in mind this is broad gauge, and this is the only broad gauge locomotive that's on the list. So they actually decide to try to rebuild this engine into a real life locomotive, but it didn't work that well, so it was ended up sold off for scrap. And if you want to know how the name Fal's Ghost happened, well, it was put on a magazine story. I don't know if it actually happened, but still. Basically, this engine is basically awful. But what about the British Railway Stories Fal's Ghost video? On the other hand, it's amazing, and to be honest, it makes more sense what really happened. So, yeah, I think this is what should have happened in real life. But what do you think? But still, Simon A.C. Martin is a fantastic YouTuber. I love his series and all his content, and I suggest you subscribe to his channel right now. So pause the video, go back and watch his videos, subscribe to his channel, and come back, okay? You're back? Great, let's get started. Number 6. The London Northeastern Western Railway DLX goods engine. Sorry, I had a hard time pronouncing this engine's name. But anyways, these engines look ugly to say the least. Some people say that they have the worst traits of a Super D. And looking at them in photographs, I kind of see why. They're ugly, crude, over 9,000 of... why did I say 9,000? Sorry, well, I meant to say 900 were made, and none of them survived beyond the 1930s. I wonder why that is. Number 5. Edward Thompson's A2/2 Pacifics. Now, I'm not saying the LNER P2s are bad. In fact, I love these machines. But it's what happened to them what made me angry and made me put them on the list. The P2s were designed by the legend himself, Sir Nigel Gresley. Wow, Sir Nigel Gresley is an amazing engine designer. Yeah, because he was the one who designed the A4 Pacifics. I'll talk about the A4 Pacifics in another video. Wink wink. But sadly, Sir Nigel Gresley passed away in his office in 1941, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 1941. And Edward Thompson succeeded him as engineer designer, unfortunately. But let's get to it. So, Edward Thompson, boy oh boy, did he make every single railway enthusiasts, well, engine fan, let's say like, huh, Chris E. Dan Green, Jim Van Der Con, or Andrew Raga Band was. Sorry, man. It's just real hard to pronounce your name. And me, Team Zug, very angry. So, what did Edward Thompson done? Well, basically, the first thing he did was withdrawn and scrapped Gresley's successful goods engines, which were the P1 Mikados. Why? I have absolutely no idea. Because of the goods traffic, which means that nobody could own them. Only 2 of them were ever made. Just 2 of them! And they were both scrapped right on the spot. Why? If Thompson spared them, maybe the National Rail Museum or the Bluebell Railway or any kind of museum or heritage railway would preserve one or perhaps both of them. They could probably be here, right now. But no, you were too greedy. Why? Why? But that wasn't the worst thing. He turned Gresley's successful P2s and turned them into his hideous, crappy A2/2s. No! No! Does not compute! Does not compute! It does not compute! Yes, he did. And what happened to them afterwards? They were all scrapped. Thompson. Thanks for killing off one of the greatest Gresley Pacifics of all time. I hate you. Well, basically nearly everyone does. Yeah. Thankfully, the P2s are getting the rebuild treatment because Cochrane North is coming back from the dead, baby. And a new member is coming out, and that being 2007, Prince of Wales. And this century is going to be finished this year, 2021. And I'm a Gresley fan. I'm so excited for it. Speaking of Edward Thompson, number 4. The Edward Thompson A1/1 Great Northern. Like the P2s, I don't hate Great Northern. In fact, I love Great Northern as well as the P2s, but it's what happened to him afterwards. So if you guys don't know, Great Northern was Gresley's first ever Pacific, and also he's the basis for Gordon, the big engine. Absolute one of my favorite characters from Tom and Friends. But basically, what Thompson did was truly unforgivable. In 1944, before building any more fresh steam engines, Thompson decided to rebuild one of Gresley's A3s into a Pacific on his own design just to see how the design could work. But in selecting an A1 or A3 that was known for nothing, Thompson only worsened his infamy more by selecting Great Northern, Gresley's first Pacific, and the first of the A1s. And this is my reaction. No! No! Does not compute! Does not compute! It does not compute! And trust me, this only had negative reaction from the high authority of the LNER. They tried their best to talk Thompson out of rebuilding Great Northern into the Pacific, and instead to do it to a different A1, minus Scotsman, but he had none of it. Thompson let his feelings towards Gresley bring him down, and in 1945, he rebuilt Great Northern into the hideous A1/1. And this is my reaction to that. Yes, he did. Like the E2/2s, Great Northern suffered the hideous and tragic life of infamy, all because of Tobbs's foolish actions. Fun fact, both the P2s and Great Northern's XL cylinders, were pushed back in the bogie wheel. Now, it has been done before, like in Great Halls and Princess Royal classes, but that just looks ugly. Great Northern was finally retired after 1962. And despite the fact Great Northern was now a hideous and crappy Pacific, there was actually an attempt to save it from being scrapped. Basically, of course, to undo what Thompson did to it and change it back to its Grizzly A1 form and to turn it into Elenia 4470 or GNR 4470. But that attempt was sadly unsuccessful, and Grizzly's first Pacific, Great Northern, bit the dust in the hands of the cutter's torch. I wish Great Northern was preserved. Who knows, maybe he, Fine Scotsman, and Gordon from Tom's Friends could be a trio. I also wish that Papyrus, the other A3 that broke 100 miles per hour, was also preserved as well. So yeah, now let's get on to the third worst steam engine of all time. And the third worst steam engine of all time is the Great Western Great Bear. Boy, if I have one word to describe this locomotive, it'll be god awful. This steam locomotive was a huge failure. This had to be the worst design what any Great Western engine should do. Yeah, I think the E2s can give this a run for its money. By the way, I actually like the E2s, but that's not important right now. So basically, this design was a terrible idea. And the craziest thing is, these engines were going to be the Great Western Railway actually tried to sell this to one of the bigger railways. It's unknown which one is, either the Elenia or LMS. Trying to sell it to one of the bigger railways. And basically ended up getting scrapped. I forgot which year it was, but obviously it did not sell that well. Yeah, and this was the only member of the class ever made. Man, what a huge failure that was. Number 2. Bullied Leader. There are many reasons why I despise this machine. Number 1. Just look at it. Number 2. It was supposed to be a replacement for the old N7 tank engines, but they weighed twice as much, so putting them on branch lines will be pretty pointless because they'll easily derail. So in the end, the N7 tank engines managed to live another day. Number 3. Just look at it. Number 4. With its 2 cabs over doors, it was supposed to make the life for the crew a luxury, but it only managed half of that because the firemen still need to work it in an open cupboard where the firebox was. A bullied leader is like an inky cube on a hot summer's day. But this must have been like an incinerator. Number 5. Just look at it. Number 6. There is no reason. Number 6. And number 7. Just look at it. It looks like one of those battery rams from the Underground Railway jacked up in mountain bricks. It's hideous. Now don't get me wrong, I'm sure Bully's leader's idea had good intentions. But lots of things had good intentions and it could be bad. Could still be bad. Just look what happened to Inside Out. I'm not even going to mention that film. Before we get to my number 1 pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. These engines I don't personally hate, but these are engines that I kind of like and actually like but people hate. The Great Western 5600 tank engines. Well, although they're pretty bland and nothing interesting about them, I do like the design of it because it looks, dare I say it, really neat. So I left it off the list. The Southern Railway Q1s. Some people call these ugly machines, and to me, I actually kind of like them. I think they look charming. Plus, I do like the name Ugly Duckling. Plus, this is the basis for Neville. So, and if you guys don't know, Neville's my favorite one of my favorite Thomas characters. I almost said he was my favorite for a minute there. So yeah, so I left the Q1s off the list. Bullied's leader. Despite the fact that Rebecca from Thomas Friends is one of my least favorite characters, I will admit the design of this engine is actually quite neat. And I know many people are going to kill me for this, but the last engine that I like that others don't is, drumroll please, the E2s. Now, might be the only video of worst steam locomotives that the E2s are not on the list, but since some people hate the E2s, I thought it was pretty necessary to put them on the dishonorable mentions list. I will be making a video about the E2s, but that'll have to come sooner or later. But anyways, I like the E2s, they're some of my favorite machines, and yeah, let's get on to the number 1 pick. And without doubt, my least favorite or worst steam locomotive that ever came to Great Britain is, drumroll please, Great Britain's LMS Garretts. Zug, did you have to put these engines on the list? My answer to that is yes. So if you don't know, these machines were, well, kind of not a UK product. Let me explain. The idea for the UK Garretts came from Australia with their Garrett engines, and surprisingly, the Garretts from Australia are still around today. And I actually like the Garretts from Australia more because they make sense that way. But I just wanted to say something. Some steam engines are better off if they just stayed in their normal countries. And this is the perfect reason why we should not have Garretts in Great Britain. I mean, just look at this machine. I mean, if you watch Sam's Trains, the model train right here, you do realize it is too big. And you'd be right. It is so big, it even fall apart because it had magnets, which is pretty not good in my opinion. But yeah, when the Garretts first arrived, they were painted in this white livery, but they were later changed to black because of World War II, and they were made that way until the end of their life. Yes, I really don't like the Garretts. In fact, they're my least favorite steam locomotives of all time in Great Britain. In fact, even scrapping these machines was a challenge. Yeah, I bet even the colour soldiers' hands were tied after they tried to scrap a monstrosity of this. Yeah, if you look at this ref photograph, you do realize this Garrett is bigger than a building, And you'd be right. I mean, just look at it. It's hideous. Okay, maybe not as Bully's leader, but you get the idea. I did say in my top 4 worst My Little Pony characters that the Bully's leader was my least favorite until my good friend Locomotion told me about these engines, and I immediately despise these machines. Yeah, I mean, sure they did well on heavier trains, but they were still outnumbered by the 9Fs. But they were smaller and had more strength than these machines. Yep, I consider the 9Fs much better than the LMS Garrett's will ever be. I mean, just look at it, it's the perfect size. You think that having locomotives that are from another country a good thing, and yeah, in a perfect world, it could be. And that would be great, and it can be done. Just look at the USA dog tanks, the basis for Rosie. They're amazing. But it's not a good thing here because these machines are too big and basically look ugly. And during the 1960s, all these machines were scrapped with no surviving samples whatsoever. Yes, I really don't like these machines. I mean, if they were going to have a chance of being preserved, where would you put it? You can't put it in your back garden, you can't put it in a museum. Well, you could, but then you'll take up more of the space in the museum. And I don't think it could work on a heritage railway because it'll easily derail. So yeah, that's basically proving my point. In my opinion, I think the LMS, I was right. The LMS Garretts are the worst steam locomotives in Great Britain. Woof! We finished! Ladies and gentlemen, we have finished my top 8 worst steam locomotives from Great Britain. Now, if you actually agree with me, then congratulations, pat yourself on the back. But if you think I was a little bit right, but there are steam engines that you like, then you're pretty average. But if you like all these engines, then, well, good for you, I guess. But anyways, I'll be making my top 10 or top 12 favorite steam locomotives, and I hope you'll enjoy that video, because I'm still picking who's my favorite steam locomotives, but it'll come real soon. This is Team Zug signing out. Peace out.